Okay, and so when we're working with exponents with negative numbers, there's a couple important things to understand. The first thing is that if we have this, the 3 is the only thing that's being raised to the power of 2. And what's really going on here is we have negative 1 times 3 to the power of 2. And so it's important to be able to see that that negative outside the parenthesis is going to be just a negative 1 that gets multiplied to the 3 to the power of 2. And so what we would have here is negative 1 times 3 times 3. And so a negative times a positive makes a negative. We still have the other 3 over there. And again, a negative times a positive makes a negative. And 3 times 3 is 9. It could look a little bit different, where we would have the negative inside the parentheses. This is different because we have a negative 3 being multiplied by a negative 3. Because that negative is inside the parentheses, and so it's part of what's being raised to the power of 2. So negative 3 times negative 3 is going to be positive 9. And the last kind of thing you could see with something like this would be a negative times a negative with a negative on the inside, like that. And so again, this goes back to like what we had with the first one, where we have a negative 1 on the outside being multiplied by whatever is being raised to the power of 3. In this case, negative 3 times negative 3. And I don't need those parentheses actually, so we have two negative 3's in here being multiplied by each other. So a negative times a negative makes a positive, and a positive times a negative makes a negative. So that's going to be basically what's going on with any kind of problem like that. When you have something to the power of 3, we'll just do these same problems again, but we'll put an exponent of 3 on them instead. So a negative with a 3 to the power of 3. We're going to have, again, this is a negative 1 outside there, times, and we've got 3 3's this time. 3 times 3 times 3. And so a negative times a positive makes a negative 3. We still have those other two 3's. A negative times a positive makes a negative. And then again, a negative times a positive makes a negative. Okay, kind of copying what we had for the second one, but this time having an exponent of 3. If we have the negative inside the parentheses, that says that we have negative 3 times negative 3 3 times. So negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. And so a negative times a negative makes a positive 9. We still have that other negative 3. A positive times a negative makes a negative 27. And then the last style that we could have, a negative times a negative 3 to the power of 3. Again, that says negative 1 times negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. Negative times a negative makes a positive. We still have the other two negative 3's. Positive times negative makes negative. We still have the other 3, negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 3 makes positive 9.